All right, Larry, here we are for PANMAN creator commentary, or PANMAN movie commentary.
Oh my God.
A commentary track.
This is pretty scary. The story's entirely true. Yeah, right.
Yeah, there's jokes everywhere in this ridiculous movie. And here we are. We open up with a shot of Los Angeles and a ridiculous sized moon. It was not reality. There was the size of the moon in that shot is like 10 times bigger than it is in
Yeah,
in
but
real
I
life.
love that it sets up the horrific aspect of the movie, and like thinking werewolves.
And it's kind of a joke. We actually use like full moon shots throughout the entire movie. It's sort of a joke that didn't really. It's not like a haha funny joke. I don't even know that anyone really. Some people got it, I think, but it's kind of it's like so. So then the movie either takes place over the course of like 6 months, only on full moons, or it takes place in the course of like 3 days when the moon was full, but neither is true. It's obviously not. So in this fictional world, the moon is always full. That's basically the joke.
Did anybody notice that?
Not really. I mean, it's kind of a weird joke.
Yeah.
And so in this scene, that's Adam Sauter playing
Great part. He's really homeless,
the
right?
thief. Yeah. He's playing the thief, and there's Kelly Walker and Amber Bollinger.
Uh-huh.
And I love all these people.
That's a great scene. Yeah.
Screaming, I'll dice ya.
Oh, God.
And there's PANMAN. Adam runs right into PANMAN.
Wow. Oh, my God. Look at that. Grim Reaper. That is so fantastic. I mean, you need an action figure of that.
And here we go. He winds up like a baseball pitcher. Oh,
God,
and when we filmed that, actually, so we filmed that throwing the pan towards the camera, and we had like a plexiglass, big square of plexiglass, because obviously you don't want the pan to hit the camera, and I was really throwing it completely blind. I couldn't see where I was throwing it. I knew the direction, so I threw it, and it actually broke the plexiglass.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, I think on that shot.
Did everybody duck? Or
Yeah,
you
no,
had
it was
people-
almost bad.
Oh, God. That's pretty wild.
And so this scene was actually sort of concocted by Jim Zagaroli, I think. Sort of this part of it, the fantasy aspect where PANMAN dreams of having a relationship with this woman who he was about to kill.
Well, Jim is obviously a hopeless romantic.
Well, in fairness to Jim, I think he noticed something that I didn't really notice as the writer. Like
Oh, God. Who thought of that one?
Yeah, that one was I'll explain that in a moment, but PANMAN is sort of a hopeless romantic, as you see throughout the course of the movie. Now, I think I wrote it where he just killed her without that fantasy scene, and we shot that scene over again, that part over again, with the blood effect too. So that actually, I think we shot this first scene over the course of several different days.
Scream Queen, huh?
Yep. And there is the epic titles and song.
Wow.
And there's our names on the screen together.
Once again.
And so this credit sequence is just shots of the kitchen, and with some somewhat disturbing elements to it, like the clock says 666. Obviously, microwave clock isn't going to say that. And then there's a shot of an open dishwasher with sharp knives sticking up and outward.
All these little subtle things.
Yeah, it's
you have to watch it several times, and you finally notice it. Yeah.
It's a pretty ludicrous movie. It is available on Amazon Prime. Oh, there's like a finger in the dishes.
Oh, God.
And there's a foot in the toaster oven.
Oh, my God. That's fantastic.
So me and Jim Zagaroli directed it in totality, I would say. But we had several different kind of guest directors come in. Dan Reeser being one of them. Yeah. One of our mutual friends.
He's good with torture scenes.
He is. Yeah, he's a great horror director. And just the the simple fact of filming with a blind actor with a pot completely covering his eyes, like, and I was supposed to direct some of these. It just took too long to take the pot off and to go look at the shot after it's shot. So we had Jim Zagaroli, who's an excellent DP and cameraman and a good director too, but he didn't really want to direct the actors. And so we tried to bring in a guest director anytime that there was a kill scene, so that either I wasn't doing double duty and Jim Zagaroli wasn't doing double duty. So we had Dan Reeser, we had Andrew Genser, and we had Brett Register come in and direct some of the kill scenes, with the scenes where PANMAN's in, so again, so it just doesn't slow down the situation too much.
It all worked very well, though, because I think it's one of the best films I've ever seen. Production values are fantastic.
For the amount of money we spent, it's definitely...
Yes, definitely.
And there's Larry Butler, and there's Andy Ostroff.
Yes. I remember him well. He's a troubled young man.
You didn't appreciate...
Oh, it's okay. It was just
you were adversarial in the scene.
Yes. Yeah. Very good. A motley crew.
Some really talented actors in this movie, really funny people.
Yeah.
People that we had worked with over the course of a few years, mostly doing like sketch comedy and webisodes and things like that.
Yeah, yeah.
And everyone liked us. They did it all for free. They did it because they thought it was going to be fun, and I think it was.
Yeah,
I hope it was. I hope the movie turned out what they wanted.
It definitely panned out.
Thank you.
Oh, there's the moon
There's
again.
another full moon shot.
Yeah, wow.
Oh, and there's my old car.
That's your old car? Wow,
Yeah.
that's a nice one.
It's a Mitsubishi Eclipse convertible. Oh, and those are my hands rolling a joint of real weed.
Oh, your
actually.
hands. Oh.
That was actually my hands. Yeah, it was an insert.
Uh-huh.
I can tell because I have lady fingers.
Ah.
And we didn't use a prop for the marijuana. We just had marijuana.
Real marijuana.
Yeah.
Oh, you're authentic.
And so there's PANMAN approaching Hope and House, which is his sort of nickname.
Mm-hmm. Wow. There he is again. He needs to be liked, doesn't he? It's his,
loved.
And loved, yes.
Yeah. He wants a girlfriend.
He's very insecure.
This is the old Muhammad Ali windmill with one arm and then completely sucker him with the other arm.
Yeah.
Except it didn't work the first time.
Oh, God.
But the second swing, it knocks his head clean off, which makes no sense.
I know. How is that possible?
It's not. None of it is.
Wow. But the demon, where does that come from originally? No one seems to know.
The demon of Doladroff?
Yes.
Well, there's a creation scene about midway where we kind of learn where and why a little bit. I mean, it's still kind of complicated, to be honest.
Yeah.
There's a man inside PANMAN, and the person who is PANMAN is actually a different person. So it's like three people in one. It's very complicated for the movie it is.
But that's why you need to see it more than once.
Well, that's kind of part of the joke, too,
Yeah.
is it's very complicated. That was one of my favorite jokes in the entire movie. When PANMAN steals House's car, he puts on the radio, turns it up, and there's a couple of songs that he hears. One of them is an old friend of mine called Rob Bailey, who I was on the phone with him one time, and I recorded him rapping, "Shake that ass, motherfucker." And and then PANMAN changes the channel, and it's like a country song, and it's Dave Flanick, who is this person right here that Talia is about to run into. And Dave sings, "My dog smoked all my cigarettes." And then PANMAN changes it again. And the next song that is on is an actual song sung by a guy called Nomad Eye, who is an old friend of mine that I went to high school with. His real name is Anthony Barriola, and he does reggae and rap. And he was actually in the high school versions of PANMAN that I made. So I made 2 movies when I was in high school, both PANMAN related.
Well, I didn't know that.
Yeah. So the
Wow.
legend of PANMAN goes back to like 1998, 1999.
Is there any way to see those original movies?
Actually, yeah, I'm getting it digitized.
Oh, excellent.
And part 1 I think is maybe like 20 minutes. Part 2 is maybe like 45 minutes. Part 2 was actually made, I think, the summer I graduated high school, and was, I think, pretty good. I mean, it doesn't. There's like moments that are funny or maybe not scary, but it's kind of like this in that it's weird. It's a little disjointed. But it kind of works. People liked it.
That's great. I can't wait to see it. This is the guy who took second place, I think, in America's Got Talent.
That's exactly right.
Comedian.
That's exactly right.
He
Taylor
wasn't
Williamson.
famous at the time.
That's right.
When we did this, but he became that way, if you notice who he is.
Yep, Taylor Williamson.
Taylor Williamson.
And here is a fun scene. I think this is also Jim Zagaroli's idea, because when we shot it, the joke wasn't really there. And it was his idea to make this character, who's actually named in the credits, Poor Soul, I think is his name, is what he's credited as. And so PANMAN kind of abuses him to make it sound like it's PANMAN on the phone talking to Hope, his soon-to-be kind of girlfriend.
Okay.
So she thinks that's PANMAN saying, yeah, but it's really PANMAN's victim. And Talia Tabin is an amazing actress, so funny. Love her so much. She's gone on to some great successes. She's been in some TV shows. I think she's been on Parks and Rec. She did a show recently, I think it's called Florida Girls comedy show. She's very, very funny.
Wow.
And we cast her in a few different things. Actually, I think she was kind of playing like a mean girl character in a lot of the things, but we cast her in this as a kind of the good girl, which is
against type
a little bit. I mean, she's not a mean girl at all, but she's really funny as a mean. She's hilarious. I think she's one of the funniest actors I've ever known. So I just wanted her in the movie as much as possible, really.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, I feel like this role of Hope doesn't really play into her strengths as a comedic actress as much as I feel like it should have. And that's my fault. And there's Andrew Genser. Andrew Genser used to work for The Soup, and he actually directed the scene, and he directed 1 or 2 other ones as well, I believe. Okay. Or at least this one. This might be the only one. He's an old friend of mine, Andrew Genser.
So these are all your friends. You didn't cast outside of that.
I think that's mostly true, that we cast just people that we had worked with or knew personally, yeah.
Except for the seal.
Except for the seal that was filmed on a scouting trip to that beach.
Was that just happenstance?
Yeah, that seal was just there.
Very good. Wow.
And Talia was a real sport, especially this day, because right here she
God.
really didn't want us to pour sand on her. She's really annoyed in that moment, and it's like one pan full of sand that's poured on her, and she's like, can we not do this?
But she did it anyway.
She did it, yeah. It's like, sorry, it's a joke, She got it, but then we shot later that night again in Hollywood. I think it was the scene that we just saw where she runs out and meets Dave on the street. So she had it was a really long day for her. And she was like, after the beach, she was like, I'm going to go home and take a shower. And we were like, oh, really? Like, it's like kind of one of the things that you don't want to do. It's like a rule of thumb as a filmmaker, like, don't let the actor go away, because there's a good chance they're not going to come back.
Yeah, right.
So
Understood,
we were a little nervous about that, but she says something like, when we're like, can you just come and we'll, and she's like, guys, I have sand in my vagina. I want to take a shower. And I think she was kidding, but she kind of put her foot down, and it was pretty funny. She's funny, very, very funny woman.
Yeah, you could have let her use her. Oh, that was her place.
It was
was it
actually my old
Her
apartment.
old-
Yeah.
She could have showered at your place.
Yeah, she ended up showering at my place later after her death scene. She's covered in blood,
Yeah.
which happens later in the movie. But yeah, at least like a third of the movie is shot in that location.
Oh, where is that?
That's your location. That's your
right.
house.
Yeah. Yeah. My famous fish outfit. Had several fish shirts. I thought it was in keeping with the salmon,
Yeah.
concept.
I love it. I think it's hilarious.
Yeah, that's. Oh, he played my son, didn't he? Yeah.
Yes. He's kind of a
right.
subtle. Yeah, he's kind of your son, but subtly.
Yeah.
Yes. So many like just moments where we were, it's not in the script to be like that kind of humorous, like yes, it's not in the script. If there was ever a moment where we weren't really sure what to do, it was like try to be funny, fun, or just weird for the sake of it,
It's pretty easy to do for me.
Scary was something that we probably struggled with to actually create real scares, So that was obviously part of the plan. The goal was to be scary at being a horror movie with or horror comedy with a lot of death. But it was either you wanted it to be funny, fun, scary, or just weird. And I feel like we hit that note in almost every scene.
Oh God. Yes, it's a masterpiece.
Oh boy.
Wow.
And here is the big mouth Billy Bass that PANMAN gives to Hope as a gift because hers ran out of battery.
Yeah. Oh, he's such a cut up. God. But he's quite taken with her, isn't he?
He does. He likes her, yeah. And she likes him, which is odd. No
yeah,
reason.
very odd.
Yeah, we tried to make it like she's a good girl, but with like a I don't even say a dark side, but just sort of like a dark curiosity. I think.
Yeah, she has an odd taste in men.
Yeah, and I think there's a shot. Maybe it's coming up, but we had this light fixture, this light box that you would put a poster in, and it would light it up as what you see at a movie theater. But we put X-rays in it. So it was like that was part of her decorations in her apartment that she enjoyed looking at X-rays of the human body. So that was kind of, and these candles were kind of part of our, I don't know, at least peek at her like dark interests, I guess. I don't know if it really plays that well. It really seems like she's just kind of too good for wanting PANMAN, liking PANMAN, but
you've certainly got the audience attention at this point.
I hope.
Trying to figure her out. Like, what's the attraction here?
I know he doesn't talk back to her.
Well, she likes shiny objects, obviously.
Yeah, it's really a vanity thing because you're looking back at yourself.
Yes, basically, yeah. You might have hit on something. Oh my God, I love that bottle.
Not a real wine bottle. It was a prop that we filled with wine, like a Halloween.
Yeah.
It was not meant to be filled with wine.
Wow. God.
And so this is kind of a romantic scene, if you will,
Yeah.
where they're kind of connecting over dinner. And I remember rehearsing this scene with Talia, and she was doing really well, but I just kept saying slower. She's like, "What are you talking about?" She's like, "You want slower than this?" And I'm like, "Yeah." And so we brought it so far down. The pace in this scene is so different than any other scene. But I think it actually works for the movie to show that there is some connection here, and the music also helps.
Right.
But
yeah, love that music.
Yeah, I mean the beginning of the movie up until this point flies through. They're just so fast. I can't even talk as fast as it goes. I feel like to explain all the things that happened in the movie, but. This is the one scene where it kind of slows down. And I think we lose people at this moment, too. I think some people don't really get far beyond, like, the 20-minute mark.
Yeah, this is the big reveal right here.
And I told Talia to do that thing with her lip, and I think like bite her bottom lip, and she's like rolling her eyes at me, like, do I have to? Like, come on, just do it. She was a good sport. Great actress, gorgeous too.
Yeah. Wow. That was hard to do, I'm sure.
Well, we're kind of laughing and then you dissolve into the beach where we're kissing too, and we're just laughing right there. We're just smiling. You can pretty much tell. It's so awkward.
Oh. Okay. Well.
But she's a great person. And there we are in the backyard of my apartment, gazing at the stars.
God.
There we are in a movie theater. That's the one, the Sunset Five, the Lamley Five. And there in the background is Eric Patton.
Oh, my God, yes.
And there's Dave, your son, the character of Hunter's son.
The absurdity of this. Every so often it hits you. Like, he can't see. They're watching a movie together. He's not seeing it.
Right. Oh, and here is the reveal of the other hunters. Some of them are your students. We're in that scene.
So was that Clayton there?
Yeah, Clayton Froning, Andrea Jensen, L.J. Jennings, Les Jennings, and there's Dave Flanick. There's L.J.
Mm-hmm.
And Craig.
He went on to great success too, didn't he?
Yep.
Doing he did a series. But
Craig Frank. Yeah, he was in Mixology, I think it was called. Yeah, and he's been in a ton of commercials.
Yes, he has.
He was actually, I think, parodied on SNL, because sort of an indirect parody, but he was in so many commercials in like a 1 or 2 year span that that look that he had was parodied on SNL.
Well, he's one of the first to grow his afro.
Right. Yeah, he had a pretty big afro at that point.
So big that they cast him and everything. And
here is a scene where, well, there's PANMAN driving. Always challenging, driving when you're completely blind.
God. Yeah, try that sometime.
And so there's the private detective. That's Dave. His character is on the phone with Hope, Talia's character, and she's trying to back out of the arrangement that they made.
Oh.
The arrangement was to try to trap PANMAN.
That's right. Yeah.
For your purposes, for Hunter, the professor's purposes of killing him. But PANMAN walks in while she's on the phone. Oh, there's my art in the background. That's some crazy art.
Oh, wow.
And so he overhears her, but sort of confuses what conversation he's hearing. He thinks he's hearing her, that she's double-crossing him, when in reality she kind of had, but is trying to back out of it. So he gets mad, and here you see him looking for a weapon. There's like a potato masher. That's not good enough. This egg whisker is not good enough. Not the right utensil. And then she hears him. She knows he's there. She thinks he might have overheard her. And so now she's kind of scared. So this is maybe the only moment of like real suspense in the movie, one of the few moments.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a knife that he pulls from a drawer, but that's also not good enough for him.
Yeah. At this point, the audience is fully engaged because they think something terrible is about to happen.
Yeah, they wouldn't be wrong.
And that's true, yes.
Oh, you jumped.
Surprise. I have PTSD, remember? Yeah.
And then there's his weapon. It is a tinfoil roll. And the jagged edge of the cardboard.
You could have used them as a sponsor.
I wish that. I don't know if they'd endorse using their product that way, but. And there's a close up of some ham that's being cut, which we really thought that would be pretty gross.
Wow.
poor Hope is getting murdered, really for no good reason. Very bloody. The reaction to this scene really is run the gambit. From people laughing hysterically. I'm not kidding. I've seen it with my own two eyes, where people are like literally in hysterics, uncontrollably laughing at that scene, to being really disturbed and
I was somewhere on a fence. It stopped being funny for a moment at this point.
Well, because it goes on for a long time, and that's also kind of part of the joke. I think we thought that was funny. The longer it goes on, maybe the funnier. So I don't know. And so I think we kind of call this the end of the first act, if you could call this.
Yeah.
And actually, we originally wrote this. I say we, it was me. I originally wrote the script as a short film that was to end, I think, right here after he killed his girlfriend.
Oh, I see.
And it was like 4 scenes. I think it was the first scene. There was some version of the first scene, and then there was the house death scene, and then there was the beach date scene, and then there was that.
Okay.
But we filmed a couple of those scenes. I think actually her death scene being one of them, and the house death scene, and we're like, that wasn't that bad. We've got 9 minutes of movie. If we can just get like 75 more minutes, we've got a full movie. So that was kind of our thought at that point. We're like, let's just go for it. Fuck it. What's a short film? Like, what's the value of a short film? And I still kind of stand by that. Not much is my answer.
You're very right, because I did a film that was very much appreciated, but it was only 45 minutes.
Yeah.
Just a few more minutes, it could have been a feature.
Yeah.
It's called The Diary, an incredible horror film.
I think the purpose of a lot of short films is to raise money for the feature version. At least that was the kind of the point of a lot of short films back 10 years ago.
I know. I tried to talk the director into extending the length of it, and he never did it. But it wouldn't have taken much. I said, do it 10 years later.
Yeah.
But anyway.
That would have been cool.
Yeah.
But it's just hard. It's a hard route to go to make a short film and to write a feature script and to hope that this.
Oh my God! Was that added later? I don't remember that scene.
We actually went to Universal Studios to record that. Not like the backstage. Like, we actually went to the theme park, Universal Studios, where that was a sort of like a photo booth thing. It was like a video photo booth, and it's one of the more I don't know, luxurious props, I suppose, in the movie.
Huh.
And Dave Flanick really made a lot of these props. And there's Dave again, and he's sketching. His character is always sketching PANMAN.
He's obsessed. Yeah.
Yes.
True.
And there's that light box with the X-rays in the background. And there's Dave shooting his picture.
Wow.
This PANMAN drop kicking the punching bag. That was all Jim Zagaroli's suggestion.
Now, was that you as the PANMAN?
Yeah.
So you are pretty athletic.
I could do a drop kick. It's hard to do that stuff with blind though. Again.
Yeah, true.
And that shot's pretty good. That shot really worked with the smoke, the fog.
Mm-hmm.
And here's where PANMAN comes for the private investigator who was part of that double cross, and he leaves his gun as he goes to the door. Leaves his gun, and here he opens the door, and there's Mozart playing.
It's great using classical music like that.
Yeah, well, it's actually really cheap.
It's public domain?
Yeah, because it's way over 100 years. All you have to do is pay for whoever composed that version of it. So I think it was like $30 to use this song, Moonlight Sonata by Mozart, which works so well in this scene.
Wow.
Actually, you know what? I take it back. That was the end of the first act.
Okay.
And this is the beginning of the second act. And I thought that sound effect was so funny.
There's Carl Solomon.
There he is.
That's Leighton.
Yes, I remember him. He's a friend of yours. Yeah. Good, nice guy.
Yeah.
and there's Lisa Younger trying to start a slow clap for we're here at this funeral as one big culinary family, and no one claps with and Eric Patton and Lisa Younger's relationship in this movie is so funny to me.
There's my wife and daughter in the
That's
background
right.
there. Bonnie's first movie.
Yes. And here is the one and only Carl Solomon.
Yeah. He's very unique. Yeah.
And there's Professor Hunter with a red blazer, yellow pants, purple hat, purple shirt, tie tucked in. And that's your funeral attire.
And matching attitude.
Yeah. And there's the rest of the hunters. At least the rest of the hunters wore black. You purposely were being disrespectful, your character. Even though you're sort of partly responsible for, well, mostly responsible for Hope being killed. That's how you show up to pay your respects. Completely disrespectful.
Yeah, well, I had my inspiration from a certain politician.
Oh yeah?
It won't be named at this point.
And there's Clayton Froning. Clayton Froning is hilarious.
Yeah.
LJ
Yeah,
says,
he has his moments.
yeah. He plays like a stoner in this, stoner kind of surfer guy in this movie. And LJ, who's like a bodybuilder, who's like a fitness guy for years, and Eric Patton's character, Mark, I believe his name is, tries to hand LJ some cake, and he hits it out of his hand.
Yeah.
He says, "Do I look like I fucking eat cake?"
Yeah. He likes to kiss his muscles, too. Kind of humorous.
Yes, very funny.
But slice of life. There's guys out there like that.
So there's like 15 people at this funeral, PANMAN being one of them. Like, no one notices. He's holding a bloody flower in the back.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah, I'm there in the back.
Oh, God. I need to focus more. Oh, great. It's when they all realize there's ashes on the cake. Oh, there's Ryan Stockard.
Yeah, Ryan Stockstad.
There's my daughter puking her guts out.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
And Lisa throws up right into the camera. And then you're mad and storm off. Oh, this is good.
Oh, yes. We need that. Gratuitous puking.
Oh, he threw up on the other guy.
Yeah.
There's Tina Molina
Yeah.
playing Justice.
Great actress.
Yeah, she is a good
really
actress.
Enjoyed her performance.
It's sort of kind of similar to Talia's Hope role. I mean, they're sisters in the movie, but I take responsibility for this because neither of them really play into their strengths as actresses too much or actors. You know, the roles are just kind of not super written, not written terribly well. You know.
Well, I don't know. You're being hard on yourself.
Well,
But, no, I thought the whole ensemble was great. They played very colorful characters.
and there you ordered Bo. You just gave him a head nod, and he knows what to do.
Yeah.
And so Bo actually sort of, it's off screen, but it's implied that he kidnaps Mark and Loretta because these two. Because the next time they are seen, they're tied up in their basement.
Yeah.
And I remember when I directed LJ and Eric Patton and Lisa Younger in that scene, I said, pretend he's telling you that he's got Dodger tickets for you, free Dodger tickets. And so that was Eric Patton's reaction, like, oh yeah, Dodgers. Seeing his face nodding so excitedly makes me laugh.
It's like Keanu Reeves, right?
Yes.
Dumbo.
I think this was the very first thing that we shot.
One of them, yeah.
After those first two scenes for the short film. So that line, I think, was written. I don't mean hope in the person sense of the word. I mean hope in the Obama sense of the word. I think that was written when Obama was running for president, and obviously he won. But his poster was a picture of him with the word hope underneath. And that joke actually played really well at the time. It's really one of the only dated jokes in the movie. Very like that time period, because a lot of people nowadays, if you're 15 or something now, you probably don't get that joke,
Yeah. Great eye roll.
Gotta throw the mediocre mind.
You let me put that in.
Yes.
I tweaked it a bit.
And Craig Frank's character is Elijah, and he stutters. We wanted him to be dorky, but we didn't want it to be like Urkel or we just didn't want it to be like cliche dorky. So he came up with the stuttering, which there's probably a really good reason why that you don't see that in a lot of movies, because it takes a lot of time to get a line out.
Right.
But Craig really nailed it. He is a very talented comedic actor. And here is where Justice tells your character that Hope was seeing a guy named Jeremy, and you knew that was the student in your class. So at this point, you know who the PANMAN is. This scene is pretty brilliant. If I do say so myself, this one was DP'd by Michael Kirshner. And that is mostly because Jim Zagaroli is in it. That's Jim Zagaroli.
That's great.
He plays Dolodroff before Dolodroff was killed and turned into the demon that floats into anyone. So if Dolodroff the demon floats into someone, that person grabs a pan and a pot and the cloak, and that person is PANMAN. That combination of a live human and Dolodroff's spirit is what makes PANMAN. But I love the scene. It's a silent scene. The music's great. And Dolodroff, the evil chef Dolodroff, just starts choking one of his servers. And we don't know why. But this moment is great because he gets choked and he just starts waving people on, like as if this was planned for a while. And it was just waiting for Dolodroff to abuse another one of his workers. And then they were all going to kill him because it was a coordinated...
Yes, it certainly was.
So they're all killing...
rebelling.
Yes.
It's his total control.
And it was sort of a Psycho, the movie Psycho, Hitchcock's Psycho, take on this, on the blood, actually. The blood is actually chocolate sauce in this scene. We knew we were going to film it in black and white, so we used chocolate sauce for the fun of it.
That worked.
Yeah.
Oh, yuck.
And he cuts... Dolodroff's head off with a pizza slicer. I don't know what that's called.
Okay.
This joke never played that I thought would. But your arm is like wildly scribbling.
It kind of does. I mean, it is satire.
But never. No, it didn't get a laugh. Is what I mean. I thought it was funny. It was one of my favorite moments because it's written so perfectly on the whiteboard. But you obviously scribble like a madman, and not even enough time to write what it said.
There we go.
Little girl.
God, he plays that character to perfection. You know, the kind of the dumb guy.
Yes. And Bo really hates being known as a culinary student or a chef. He hates to cook. Yeah. He's only there to kick himself some demon ass.
Great eyebrows.
But I love that they can't even help complimenting PANMAN. You know, like they can't help complimenting Dolodrov. Like, I want to kill him, but he is such a talented chef. Yeah. Oh, there's your cat.
Oh my God, my poor cat.
Callie?
She's long gone.
Yeah.
God, sweet little thing.
Now this joke got one of the bigger laughs.
Yeah, like the Bigfoot tapes.
Yeah.
Swinging your arms like the
We shot that
Patterson tape.
Yeah, exactly. We shot that in Griffith Park. And I think people really like when you talk about whoispanman.com in the movie. It's that got a lot of laughs. And here is Rob Sesternino, podcast royalty. Rob Sesternino has a cameo. He plays old PANMAN. I think he's credited as, and he was on Survivor.
Huh?
Yeah, he was on. He was on Survivor twice. Good friend of mine.
Oh.
I like to beat him in fantasy football these days.
I'll be darned.
So I really love this moment because.
Oh God, there's the crazy eyes.
Yeah, so Rob's character of old PANMAN is one of your students, and he kind of comes to after the demon floats out of him. He wants to know what he got on his final exam, and he asks you, "Did you grade our final exams yet?" And you look back at him, knowing he's not possessed at that moment, and you stab him and kill him. But your character narrates that part, and you say, "I knew better than to trust a shifty demon." But in the reality of the scene, you knew he wasn't the demon. So what you said and what you did are two different things. So as a viewer, an astute viewer will be like, that's inconsistent. He's got bad intentions. But I think most people, like, and for rightly so, aren't like thinking that deep about it, you know?
So it was an inkling that what to come.
There are hints there, you know?
Pesto, yeah.
We both had pesto sandwiches for lunch.
Yes, and I'm feeling a little odd. But PANMAN was allergic to pesto.
Which is ironic now that I love pesto so much.
Yes. God. Wow.
And that is actually a joke that my dad used to say. He used to say, like, flex, be like, "I'll put your head right there. I'll flex and pop your head off."
Wow.
And so I wrote it into the script, and LJ improvised, clean, pop your head, clean the fuck off. But yeah, that was an old joke.
Yeah, well, he's great in that character.
He is. And here's some great shots. Look at these time lapse, cloud shots. The transition shots are one of the best parts in the movie.
Mm-hmm.
And there's Justice, Hope's sister. For some reason, she stays at her dead sister's house. She can't find a hotel nearby, I guess.
Yeah, I guess not.
Oh, in that moment, I forgot about that. Where Tully is smiling at the camera. Actually got a big laugh, sort of like an impulsive laugh out of the theater when we screened it. And it's just like Justice has this moment where she looks at the floor, and then there's flashes some pictures of Hope dead in her head. But then the third one is just Hope smiling, which makes no sense. Like that.
Oh, okay.
You know.
Okay. Well.
And also, Dave Flanick put instead of police line, he put caution tape, which was, again, foreshadowing. It should have said, like, police line, don't cross, but he intentionally made it say caution because he was warning the character. And so here's this torture scene that was directed by Dan Reeser, and this is where we finally know that you're definitely a bad guy.
Yes, this is the big reveal here where people finally become aware that I'm not the hero I make myself out to be.
Right. And again, these two, is that your mom and your dad?
No.
That was a prop. Oh, okay.
I don't know who those people are.
I forget who that was. And I really love how the light bulb is swinging throughout the entire scene.
Oh, God.
Which makes no sense because it's actually filmed in a garage. But I think we joked that it was filmed on a boat because the light didn't stop moving The light bulb.
God.
So this was sort of a take on like a scene from Saw, a movie like Saw where there's a torture porn, and oh boy, I forgot about this part.
Torture porn.
Oh god.
Oh God.
He takes a carrot peeler and peels off a slice of his cheek.
Oh no, that's inventive.
That was pretty good. Yeah.
Yes, it was.
And I always thought that was funny because, like, in torture porn kind of movies, they go through stages of being tortured, and of course, some of it is lasting scars, like that cheek where his cheek is sliced off. So, if they are to get out of that alive, now you're dealing with your boyfriend has this scar on his face that he didn't have before. So, I felt like it was funny that changes that could change the relationship at some point.
Yeah.
Like if someone's scarred up enough, maybe that. Their significant other doesn't want to go out with them anymore anyway, even if they were to get out of it alive. So that was kind of the joke.
Yeah.
And then she's narrating.
God. She's narrating the whole thing, yeah.
And he does not want to know. And she's giving you ideas, too. And they're you crushed his toes with the meat tenderizer.
Right. He's getting the brunt of the torture, and she's just aggravating the situation. Comes the rolling pin. Yeah.
No, not that one.
Yeah, not big enough.
Lisa Younger is so funny. Such a funny actor.
Yeah. God.
These two have such a funny relationship in the movie.
My God. Oh, God. Oh, man.
So I feel like Eric Patton's character, the Mark role, like just really didn't like the Loretta role character, even though they're boyfriend and girlfriend, and this is like a, college age. And it's just funny to me that every time they're together, he's so annoyed by her.
They weren't good at They weren't a good match at all.
No,
Yeah.
I think they actually went out on a date in real life.
Oh, really?
I don't think it went anywhere.
How did
though.
that go?
I don't think it went anywhere.
It was torture. Oh, God. So he sees hope and justice. Huh?
Yes, exactly. And this was a hard walk. That was the longest walk I did on screen that goes straight. That's like a 30-foot walk.
Wow.
Straight line.
You counted your steps or
Yes.
just got lucky?
Oh, there's actually stairs there, too. There's 2 or 3 steps. But yeah, PANMAN gets confused. He would have killed Justice, but he thought it was Hope. He had some kind of sort of a flashback, and he storms out of there. Doesn't make any sense. He'll be custard in our hands? What does that mean?
Yeah.
Oh, this, I believe this, if I'm not mistaken, is actually, oh no, it's in forward. I thought it was in reverse.
That's Santa Barbara? Or?
It was just the coast. I don't remember. There's a nice shot of the sun setting over the Hollywood
Oh,
Hills.
yeah, yeah.
There's another full moon. Yeah. There's some really good moon shots. Buon Gusto up in North Hills on Sepulveda Boulevard. Hope it's still up there. Yeah. North Hills, Northridge, possibly.
Oh yeah.
Buon Gusto. The owners were really
this
cool.
is a great scene.
This is where the hunters try to trap PANMAN.
Yes.
Shot really well. Look at that. It's beautiful.
Yeah.
There's everyone, all the hunters play their role. You're sort of playing a role of someone with his back to the wall who you don't want PANMAN to know who you are because you want to strike. Justice is the lookout. Zelda, played by Andrea Jensen, is the hostess. And there's Elijah, Craig Frank pretending to eat. And then PANMAN checks out Zelda. I don't know. That joke didn't really play that well, but he checks out her butt there. That was from his view, and we probably should have done that a little more obviously, but it was
I think everyone was checking it out at that point.
I think you're probably right. No one was looking at the comedy of it. She's just she's gorgeous, and so they wanted to see her.
God.
And here, Bo is pouring a drink.
He just pulls the cork out with his teeth, like some slum bar.
The pesto de resistance.
Yeah.
And now, Clayton's character starts getting really nervous. He's putting pesto down on the table where the PANMAN character might notice that it's pesto and he's trying to kill him.
This is like kryptonite to Superman.
Exactly. But PANMAN actually reacts because of the wine. He's unhappy with the wine that is delivered to his table, not the pesto. And then he looks and he sees you, and then he takes Clayton hostage.
He's trying to fake eat again.
And he covers his mouth because he didn't want to hear him talking. And this is another moment where you put one of your students in danger. You just throw your knife. I don't know what that's supposed to do. You just throw your knife at PANMAN. He blocks it and then beats Clayton's character to death. I forget Clayton's name in the movie. What the heck was his name? Jeez. Oh, and there's Talia again as Hope. Again, God bless Talia Tabin for this movie because she came all the way to North Hills on her birthday. That was her birthday night. It was like 2 a.m. We needed her there for one fucking shot. And she was like, Tim, I really don't want to do this.
She's a trooper.
She is. She's incredible. She was in there for one shot. On her birthday, she came. We had a cake for her that we brought to the set that night because, we knew she was doing us a favor. And I believe the cake, she was celebrating, I think, her 25th birthday, and the cake said, "Happy 35th birthday, Talia."
Well, now it is. So
yeah, now it is.
You were right in advance.
Right, but we were joking. Obviously, I think she appreciated the jerkiness of that joke. Oh, Terry, that was his name. I love the expression you make when Terry dies. You just shake your head. You're like, oh well. So Zelda whispers to Justice that Professor Hunter's not who you think he is, and Elijah, the stutterer, is trying to tell you to quiet down before he gets back. But by the time he gets it out, you're already back. He's like, he's coming, and you're just right there. Hunters. There you go. So this is sort of a revolt at this point, a mutiny on the captain of the ship, which would be you, the leader of this group of Panman hunters.
Yes, I'm Captain Ahab.
Yeah,
looking for the great white whale.
But I love that you have like a fruity drink.
Yeah, I know. It's totally against type.
Well,
Right.
yeah, I mean, again, going back to like if it doesn't make sense, we just went for weird, you know?
Yeah,
And that,
total
I think,
opposite of what it should be.
yeah. The way he ran away cracked me out every single time. I'll see you in custard class, Professor. You kind of think he's going to say, I'll see you in hell, because he's like, I'll see you in custard class.
Yeah, right. Very good.
And then so Justice is now the only one left with Professor Hunter. And here's Panman gearing up to finish the job on the rest of these hunters. Kill the rest of them. So this is sort of when the movie really picks up. There's 3 death scenes in a row.
Right. This is the third act, right?
Yeah, this is exactly this. Yeah, the start of the third act, I think you'd probably say, or maybe the end of the second. I'm not really sure. It's very. Oh, there's Panman.
Look at that. At first, people don't notice him down there, and then
Right.
they kind of do you hear the audience gasp.
Yeah.
It's like,
Sweet treats. That was a prop made by Dave Flanick. So many little jokes like that. Like that's just such a stupid joke. Sweet treats.
yeah.
There's Panman walking in slow motion.
Yeah.
And this scene was directed by Brett Register, who is a good friend of Craig Frank.
Ooh, wow. That hurt.
Did you plug that in? The Foreman grill, and Panman says yes. Anticipating there might be a burned hand or something.
Oh, God.
And there, Elijah squirts some mustard on Panman's chrome head.
Pesto.
Oh, there's a backhand. And Elijah's not done yet. He got one backhand. He's got a little bit of blood in his nose. He says, I'm your biggest fan. He's trying to negotiate his way out of this murder.
Oh, God.
And then Panman pulls the sheath of the pan handle off and reveals a sharpened blade. And he stabs him with the pan handle. And then, miraculously, actually, blood drains into the pan, defying gravity. If you think about it, makes zero sense. The blood, if it went anywhere, it should have gone below the pan.
Oh, man. Very graphic.
And then he pours the blood back onto Elijah. Very syrupy blood.
Yeah. Still trying to talk.
Says that was rude, and then dies. Okay. And this one is Dave Flanick's house. And there's Zelda coming back from her jog. She keeps her key in her sports bra.
Yeah.
Oh, and then she opens her door to see that the faucet is on and it's hot boiling water.
Yes. Something is awry.
She's looking around. Shot very well, this scene, for especially for like a really nondescript Hollywood apartment.
Wow, look behind you.
Behind you, Zelda. Oh, and there's down the hallway, nothing there, but Panman's right next to her.
Oh!
And she tackles him. She form tackles
Wow,
him.
she's a tough one.
Yeah. She's punching him in the chrome head, which made no sense.
Yeah, but...
And then Panman grabs some dish soap. They both stand back up.
Oh, right in the mouth. And she stands there and swallows it.
Yeah, he forces her to swallow it. Which is a sort of a particular kind of cruel, I would say.
God.
And then he downs her head into the boiling hot sink, drowns her and burns her flesh. Very reminiscent of a kill scene in Halloween 2, where Michael Myers burns a nurse in actually, I mean, basically the same way.
But she blows bubbles in this one.
Yeah, you know, that smoke actually was from dry ice that we had in the sink.
Wow.
And there's Bo doing some curls, and this is his death scene. And this was shot at a guy named Steve's apartment. Actually, Steve was in the Dolodroff death scene where they killed the old chef Dolodroff. And Panman's playing tricks on Bo here. He rings the doorbell. He's playful. He likes to mess with you a little bit.
Yes. He's like a cat with a mouse.
Yeah, a little bit. He's talking to his muscles.
Yeah. He's in love with them.
He's like, I want to say he's like, God, he's like close to 50 here. Definitely, God. Again, he has to let everyone know he doesn't care about cooking recipes. And he did tell him he would pop his head off. Oh, one of the biggest stunts in the movie. Broke a table. That was fun. Oh, and the famous Wilhelm scream.
Oh, God, and he answers the door again.
He's right there, right away, which makes you wonder, like, what is going on with Panman? And then he stabs Bo in the eye with a corkscrew. Very, very violent.
Yes,
horrible.
That's true. It's one of the more horrific scenes in the movie.
He goes over to the kitchen sink and unscrews his eye.
Oh, God.
Like it's a wine cork.
Oh, no.
Oh, and then the eyeball just falls into the garbage disposal.
Oh, no. He turns it on.
Oh, and Panman, an epic headbutt of Bo. Headbutted him from behind and then turns on the garbage disposal, chopping up Bo's eyeball. There it is.
Yeah.
Gross. And then he picks up this enormous microwave from the counter.
God.
And smashes Bo's head. And we never really saw Bo's head get smashed. We probably, I think if we had more budget, we would have kind of probably had a head that was made, like a rubber head, and we would have smashed it.
Yeah.
But
Oh, God. Very graphic.
so ridiculous. It's Romeo and Juliet with cookware.
Yeah.
Is not true at all. But oh, and there's Panman. And we're really never left to see Panman alone. And so this is one of the few times where he's alone and not doing anything. He's not building a weapon at this point. He's just putting his finger over a flame, and he awaits this phone call. Just,
Is that Phantom of the Opera music?
Yes. That's what he listens to. Like you fed her that line. I'm just dying to try out this dish. Like that's not on the nose enough. So I actually think that PANMAN pressing a number at that point was kind of connecting to the scene earlier where he's on the phone with Hope and Taylor Williamson is there and PANMAN's kind of making Taylor Williamson talk for him. I'm pretty sure we cut the part in that scene where Hope says to PANMAN, just press a number if you understand. And so that's kind of why he did it again later, to see if it really was Hope, because she would know, that she told him that. So PANMAN is confused at this point. He's not sure what's going on. And there's the Santa Monica Pier.
Honey, I'm home.
I would say this is the real start of the third act, I think.
So I'm laying in wait for him, right?
Yeah.
I just
how he didn't see you is beyond me, but
he doesn't see.
Right. And there's Hope laying dead on the floor again in the kitchen where he killed her. And he's having a bad reaction. This is shot pretty well, the way it goes between the two of them.
Mm-hmm.
Because Justice is trying to fool PANMAN into thinking that she was really dead. That it was really Hope, the ghost of Hope. So just like before, they sit down for a romantic meal. Of course, PANMAN's kind of confused. He's being manipulated now, and he doesn't really realize it. So again, you're dealing with the human Jeremy and then the demon of Chef Dolodrov.
So he's conflicted.
Yeah, you're not really sure who's driving the car at this point.
It switches from time to time.
Yeah.
There must be a trigger point, but in moments of stress.
Yeah, it's Justice. I think Justice makes him confused. He thinks that it's Hope. No, she's feeding him pesto. How he doesn't have a sixth sense about what's pesto and what's not is beyond me. And here we see what the effects are when PANMAN actually eats some pesto. And this is a pretty good effect here. He's looking at Hope in focus, and then it kind of goes blurry for him, and it comes back into focus, and it's Justice. You demonic prick.
He wants to kill him himself, right?
Yes. A lot of action sort of all at once here. He stabs your ankle with a fork and you're just limping. And PANMAN's trying to crawl away, but you've got this hatchet. Ooh, here we go. So now you get into some of these effects. So the demon just decides to leave Jeremy, the PANMAN, and it goes into you. And so now you're conflicted. Now you've got Hunter inside you and the demon, and so the demon is trying to stab you're trying to stab yourself with the hatchet. And then there goes the demon again. Flies out of you and back into Jeremy. And now PANMAN's got the hatchet. And now you're both in trouble. And I like this too.
Oh, God.
He throws, in true Hunter fashion, he throws Justice at PANMAN. Here, kill her. that was a plot point that we didn't
Goes
realize
into
until
her.
that moment. Yeah.
What's that?
You said you seduced my wife, and you ruined my life.
That's why Hunter hates him so much.
Right. And then the spirit leaves PANMAN, goes into Justice. Justice punches you, and then the spirit leaves again and goes back into PANMAN. So it spirit got into everyone at that point, and then leaves in a hurry. And this is where we kind of find out what your true motivation is on this car ride, where you kidnap Justice. Oh, and you slapped her. Also your line.
Yeah, I remember.
I'll eat your brains for breakfast.
I like alliteration. You know?
No,
Another full moon. God.
I like this. I was always confused by that expression. I won't stop at nothing. You know, doesn't that mean you'll stop if you use two
Right.
negatives?
Yes, it's a double negative, which means it's positive.
Sweet justice.
This is like a summary of the movie, right? The flashbacks.
Yeah. And the reason we put it in there, I mean, it's good visuals, but it's also breaks up the shots of just driving. It's you can only do limited things when you're filming while driving, you know?
Yeah, we should remind people that this was actually shot in a car while I was driving.
Yes. In
So
your
it's
neck of the woods.
very hard to do. Focus on the road and, do my action inside the car.
Yeah,
Turning my
challenging.
head. That was difficult.
And so that pile of sand right there was in Northridge, nowhere near the beach. But all we needed was a pile of sand. you hissed at her.
It belonged to a giant cat.
I love that. And I do remember writing the end of the movie and being like, yeah, it takes place on the beach at the end. And Jim Zagaroli, who's, one of the executive producers, co-director, he's like, you can't film on the beach at night at the end. He's like, you need huge lights that would cost $1 million. You have to light up the entire beach or else you're just seeing black in the background. And he was like, just make it so the sun rises. And we're like, okay. And we did that pretty well, I would say. I think it's funny that, like, I don't know how long you guys have been driving. Like,
All night.
Right, yeah. Probably driving like 4 or 5
God,
hours.
I love this. Look at that.
It's a great shot, but clearly sunrise, as opposed to sunset. We were there early. Sunrise is
Yeah, it was
over
5 in the morning?
It was, yeah. And, this being shot on the West Coast, you would know if it was sunset. You'd know where the sun sets into the ocean on the West Coast, but here it rises from above the mountains.
Little Jack Nicholson there.
Yeah. We had to ADR this scene, so it was pretty tough to match up everything.
Mm-hmm. Smaltz.
Oh wow! And okay, so now this scene reminds me of the end of The Naked Gun when Priscilla Presley is trying, or when Frank Drebin is trying to tell Priscilla Presley's character, trying to talk him out of her being hypnotized. Oh, there you go. Okay. Music here is so great.
Yeah.
Lightning or thunder. Oh, and there's more pesto. You've got a canister of pesto, and there's Panman's pan lid.
God. Mexican standoff here.
Yeah, exactly. Could have used a little lens cleaner, but
God. God. That is so great.
that shot took a lot.
I'm sure.
Yeah.
You probably landed on your back earlier, right? Up in the upper ledge.
Yeah, so we used green screen,
Yeah.
obviously.
Great CGI.
Yeah, there was a lot that went into it. I'll explain in a moment. She didn't want to give you the satisfaction.
Laughing at my dying.
I love it. You death rattle.
Yeah.
And I love this part right here where she touches you and you. In true Professor Hunter fashion, like just, just so energetic and animated.
Well, it takes a lot to kill a cockroach.
And then the second time she shakes you, you don't move. And then there's Panman laying in the same position but down on the beach. And there's the very famous Kato Kalin.
Yeah. God.
Oh, and the demon goes into Kato Kalin. So real quick, that shot of Panman falling off the cliff. We shot the shot of the beach down in somewhere in San Diego. I think Mike Kirshner actually. We had a monopod. Screwed the camera into the monopod, put sandbags on the end of it, and sent it out over the cliff like 5 feet. Because if you were to stand on the cliff and shoot down, like you're seeing the cliff, So for that shot to actually work, you had to be over.
Okay.
Past it. So that was actually kind of a complicated shot to get, and honestly really dangerous that we didn't lose the camera. But then from there, we got a shot of Panman on a stool, and we had the green screen, which was just like a reflective curtain, and it was a green ring, a ring of lights that shone green, and you would put that around the camera, screw that into the camera, and so it's a green screen, but the screen isn't green unless the lights are on. So we put the screen on the ground, we put the stool on the screen, camera was about on the ceiling, and I was on the stool. The stool was like where my back is, and I was basically like bicycle kicking, like in the air, like I can't even do it now. Like that, and it really worked. And then we shrunk that shot to make it look like he was falling. Obviously Panman wasn't. I was on a stool. But shrinking it for that few seconds made it look like he was falling.
Sure, you're kind of a pioneer in that whole thing.
It's very much
not many people are doing it.
Yeah, it's very much like the Die Hard shot. The shot where Alan Rickman's character dies in Die Hard at the end of that movie. Where it's same shot where it's actually slow motion and he falls off the building. And so this is the hell was the name of this beach? El Matador Beach in Malibu. Kato didn't want to say ride. I wrote it. It looks like you need a ride. He didn't want to say that. He said lift. He's great though. He's really good in this movie.
Yeah. Yeah, I met him once before, a long time ago.
Yeah,
Great guy.
really nice guy. He was like, "What's the name of this movie again?" It's like PANMAN. He's like, you gotta change the name of it. He's like, you gotta call it like Hell's Kitchen or something like that.
No, I think it's perfect the way it is.
I agree. Yeah. And there's his eyes.
Yeah.
And so you
Great ending.
led to believe that PANMAN lives on.
Oh,
and,
yes.
and is now in Kato Kalin.
And possibly will again.
Possibly. I always thought that if we were to do a sequel, it would start with that scene where Kato Kalin and Justice were in the car together, and she notices the pan and the cloak in the back seat, and she starts to try to want to get out of the car, and he notices that she notices, and then he gooses it. And of course, that where that beach is, it's right on the Pacific Coast Highway, very windy road, a lot of cliffs. And so in the script that I wrote, or maybe I wrote that first scene, Kato realizes that Justice knows it's him, and he gooses it, and floors it. And the car flies right off of a cliff and explodes down in the bottom of the canyon. And they both die, but the spirit goes into a father and son who is like hiking down below, and the father gets taken over by that spirit, and then the kid runs into the nearest police station, hence beginning the story of part 2. But it hasn't ever gotten that far. And obviously that would take a lot to blow up a car.
Yeah.
But that was always the plan. That is what I picture happens in the next moment of this movie.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to end.
Sounds
you know what I mean?
good.
Like it'll never end.
This could be a franchise quite easily.
Yeah.
I think there's a lot of potential with this. So if anybody out there is interested in promoting a sequel,
Please
we'll
let
take
us
all
know.
offers.
Yeah, seriously. Would love to make another one.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just so fun. I really love I love the movie. Put it that way. I really do.
I do too. One of my favorite movies of all time. Yeah.
Medford High School is credited down there. Gruesome Herzog, Jesse Gable, and Alcohol Paul.
Oh, God.
And there's Loretta.
Just still there.
She's the only one. Really one of the only few in the movie still alive.
Wow. Okay.
I always thought that was funny that the last word of the movie is food. And I also always thought that was funny that, what would happen if someone's just left there? Wouldn't they just be hungry the whole time? So that's
There's
it's
a
crazy
lot of
movie,
double
Larry.
entendres throughout that whole thing. It was great. Well done.
It's a pretty crazy movie.
Yeah.
But I love it.
It's one of the most original I have ever experienced.
Well, thank you.